The American Families United Act. In this video, I'll go over the summary of the bill. What is the goal of the bill? What are they trying to accomplish if the bill passes and becomes law? Bijoux Ngwanda here, immigration lawyer in the DC metropolitan area. If you're new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you're not new, welcome back. Thank you for subscribing, and please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. If you enjoy the content, go ahead and share, like, and don't forget to comment below. Let's get right into it. Remember, I had a survey on my YouTube channel, and you guys went ahead and say at least 74% of the people said that they wanted to hear about the American Families United Act. And today we will go over the summary. This bill, as a way of background, was introduced in 2013 and it went nowhere. And lately, on April 30, 2021, it was again reintroduced by Representative Veronica Escobar, Democrat from Texas, and the bill was co-sponsored by Representative David Valadao, a Republican from California. It looks like it's a bipartisan effort. If this bill passes, it's going to be great. It's going to help reunite families. And in some instances, some people who have been deported and find themselves inadmissible can, under this bill, reapply and come back again to reunite with their families. And that if this bill passes, remember, this is a proposal. We have gone through a lot of proposals before, you know, with the DREAM Act, Promise Act, Workforce Modernization Act, Essential Workers Act. Everything is just right there, sitting there dead somewhere in the Senate, and now they came up with this one. Okay, I don't know how far this one will go. I personally didn't want to talk about it because I've been so discouraged with those bills going nowhere, because when people ask questions, I don't have answers because the bill is just sitting there. But you guys keep asking, like, oh, are you going to talk about this? Are you going to talk about this? So that's why I had to make a survey and just kind of get the interest of people. So now we have people saying that, well, we're interested in hearing about it. Okay, it's a proposal, but a good one if it passes. So, by way of background, why are they introducing this bill? The reason they're introducing this bill, because a lot of people mixed status families, meaning that you have a spouse who is undocumented, then you have another spouse who's a U.S. citizen, and then you have children who are U.S. citizens. In some instances, you have a spouse U.S. citizen, another spouse undocumented, and children also undocumented based on and one spouse being a step father or mother of the children. And in the past, a lot of people, those mixed families, have seen themselves being separated from their families on ground of inadmissibility. The key defenses from deportation didn't work based on this IIRIRA, which is in 1996, Congress passed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act, which eliminated key defenses against deportation. So this act that was passed in 1996 was really damaging. And remember, this one passed under Clinton, really. And that's why when I talk about those Democrats, trust me, sometimes nothing good comes from them, really. To be honest, in 1996, I believe it was under Clinton. And that's when this bill passed. And really, this bill has separated families. A lot of families saw themselves being separated because they couldn't have a defense from deportation. It didn't work. Those defenses didn't work. You went to court, file cancellation of removal, withholding of removal, all those defenses, in the majority, it did not work. Really, if you look at the data here, you can see that 4.1 million citizen children under the age of 18 live with at least one undocumented parent. And then 207,000 spouses of U.S. citizens have seen themselves being denied green card. And deportation, at least 87,000 parents of U.S. citizen children have been deported because of the bill that was passed in 1996. Okay, that's by way of background. And now they came up with this one, I believe, in order to remedy the damages of the past. And this American Families United Act would, what will this one do exactly? In general, what it will do, it will give or provide the DHS Secretary and the Attorney General with case-by-case discretion to stop deportations in instances where an individual is an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen and when the removal of said relative will present a hardship to a U.S. citizen. That's the goal of this bill, okay? And if we go into the detail, number one, provide DHS and the Attorney General with the discretion to protect certain family members of U.S. citizens from removal, and DHS will have the discretion to waive grounds for deportation or inadmissibility, decline to issue or reinstate removal orders, and grant permission to reapply for immigration status for the spouse of U.S. citizen or the parent of a U.S. citizen child if the other parent is either a U.S. citizen or was a U.S. citizen at the time of his or her death. Basically simple. It just means that the Attorney General will have discretion to grant a waiver. Let's say a person has to be deported because they're inadmissible or deportable, and one parent is a U.S. citizen, another is undocumented. The undocumented one is to be deported. Under this bill, the Attorney General will have discretion to decide whether, based on hardship, this person will not be deported. So, and those key defenses couldn't work earlier. It was really difficult. That's why we saw a lot of deportations based on the 1996 immigration reform. And not to mention, the second thing, it will permit the use of discretion to provide relief when criteria is met. DHS or the Attorney General will have discretion to provide relief from deportation in cases where doing so will serve humanitarian purposes or preserve family unity of U.S. citizens. So basically hardship based on humanitarian reasons or in order to just preserve family unities. And that's a lower standard because remember, when we talk about hardship, extreme hardship in the context of immigration law, there's a lot to be proven, but in this case, it looks like if you can just prove that family unity is so important, and for humanitarian reason, we ask that this person not be removed. We ask that they stay in America. It looks like it's going to work, but there's always a general rule and there's always exception. But in case of aggravated felonies, when we talk about aggravated felony, they have established a list of inadmissibility and criminal bars to discretionary relief, meaning that even though the Attorney General has discretionary power to decide or to waive grounds of inadmissibility or deportability, if you have an aggravated felony, in that case, it will not work. For example, if charges associated with drugs, human trafficking, money laundering, or just murders, aggravated felonies, depending on the seriousness of the crime. Because when they talk about aggravated felonies, those crimes are so serious that the Attorney General will not waive that. Okay, let's just put it that way. So basically, that's it. That's the purpose of this bill, really, to reunite families. And in certain cases, people who have been deported before under this act will have the possibility to go back and through consular processing and actually apply again for the visa so they can reunite with the family. And that's if this bill passes. So let's hope that this goes far. Again, we know the history of bills, but we are still going to stay positive and hoping for the best. That was it for today. Tomorrow I'll come back again with something about asylum. We'll talk a little bit more about asylum and why it's so important that you don't fabricate an asylum story. We talk about frivolous applications, asylum applications, and the consequences of those. If you need a consultation, again, 22751-2180, email on display. Consultation fees apply. Bijoux Ngwanda here, immigration lawyer in the DC metropolitan area. This was U.S. Immigration. Until next time, bye-bye.